Post back again.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we are live. Josephina, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Doing great. No complaints here. We have another
Great.
sunny day in California. So,
Oh, it's raining here,
all right.
Michigan.
In Michigan, I wish we could take some of your rain. We could really use it. But it is what it is. There's Wanda. We have Michael. April is connecting. Wilhelmina, there's Wilhelmina. Hello. We'll just give it another minute, wait for folks to come in on this Monday morning or Monday afternoon, depending upon where you are.
Can you hear me?
I can, April. Hi.
Hi, I was going to cancel, but I couldn't find a cancel sign, and then I started to have a panic attack.
Oh,
And then time went out, and I think someone finally wrote me back and I said, "Oh, it's time now. Let me see if I can get in." So I'm kind of nervous because I don't know what I'm doing.
that's okay. You're in the perfect place. So
Okay.
I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do.
All right. I made a fool of myself a couple of times. I'm taking my thing off of my camera, so then you're going to be tortured looking at me, but that's okay.
No, don't worry. There's Carol. She's joined us.
Hi,
Yes.
Carol. I took the thing off. How come we don't see me?
I'm going to show you in just a moment or two how to turn your camera on.
Okay.
Everyone will be doing this together. So April.
Oh, I'll wait my turn then.
Yes, you don't have to worry about it.
You could tell I'm nervous and high strung, and I've done this a couple of times, and every time it's been a disaster.
Okay.
I was in one class and I spent the whole time playing with buttons and I didn't get anything out of it. It wasn't even a computer class. It was about learning about another subject. Then I joined a spiritual group and it was like, telling us about Torah and everything. And the whole time I'm pressing on buttons, trying to figure out what's on. And I didn't get anything out of that either.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. Well, today is going to be different. Okay.
All right.
You're in the perfect place. And so before we get started, I wanted to introduce you to Phil. Phil is with our Get Set Up support team. Yay, support. And
thank you, Phil.
He is going to be helping us out today in the chat once I show people how to use the chat. So if you have any questions, let us know. I am going to go ahead and get started. We'll probably be joined with other folks as you just start off, but that's okay. I'm going to share my screen just for a few moments, and then we're going to really hop right into this. Let's do this. Okay. And here we go. All right. Perfect. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Vicki, and I'm your Get Set Up guide. I am calling in today from San Jose, California. That's in Northern California, part of Silicon Valley. Just a little bit about me. I worked in the high-tech industry for about 30 years, did a number of different things, including technical support, lots of technical training, instructional design. And I was, honored to be able to teach people from around the world. I've taught folks very technical, as well as folks like yourself who are just starting to your world of technology. And for me, being a guide at Get Set Up enables what I love, and that is to educate folks about technology. So that's just a little bit about me. Housekeeping details to go over before we just get right to it. We're a learning community.
Oh, you disappeared.
Where'd you go?
Hello.
Hello?
I didn't touch anything.
Me
I
neither.
think it's on her end, so let's just wait for Vicky, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, because everything is okay here as well on my end, but we lost Vicky, so let's just wait for her. I'm sorry for this, guys. Let's just wait for her.
That's okay. When I saw it happen, I was like, oh my God, did I just touch something?
All right, so, but don't worry, it's not on your end, it's on Vicky's end. So
It's
it's
on my end. I'm back. I lost my network for a moment. How rude of them. Okay, I'm back. My apologies. That rarely happens. I don't like that, but I'm back. Sorry, folks. And anyway, if you're joining us via live stream today, welcome. You can see and hear everything we're doing today, but I always recommend that you register for one of our classes, and that way you can fully participate in our classes. And lastly, Get Set Up is not being paid to promote any products or services. We are a training organization, and we're all about the training. We have classes available 7 days a week. We also have classes that you can take in the US, in India, Australia, the UK, and I believe Canada. So we've got you covered pretty much 24/7. So there's a lot going on at Get Set Up, and I encourage you to hop on our website, and I'll show you how to do this at the end of class if anyone has trouble or needs help navigating and seeing how to sign up for classes. But want to give a shout out to that. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to learn how to turn on our cameras, turn them on and off, how to activate our microphones. I'm going to show you how you use your chat feature, as well as what you can do in the participant screen. And we'll talk a little bit about Zoom etiquette. And lastly, we're going to practice moving into the 2 different views. So that's what's happening today. I am going to stop sharing my screen because sometimes it just gets in the way of your controls, which is not useful. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do today is get comfortable turning our cameras on and off. So some of you may be on different devices today. I'm on a laptop, but so I'll be giving mostly instructions on how to do things on a laptop. But if folks are on a tablet or a smartphone, I'll show you where to go for certain things as well. So we're not going to leave anyone out. And by the way, for those folks who are on tablets, on smartphones, we actually have a beginner Zoom class specifically for those of you who are working on tablets, maybe iPads or smartphones. So that's a separate class as well, but don't worry, you won't be left out here. So how do we turn our video, our camera on and off? For, excuse me, for those of you on a laptop, oh, my allergies. For those of you on a laptop, you're going to go down to the bottom of your screen. You'll need to wiggle your mouse a little bit to activate your Zoom control bar, and you'll start to see the little icons there, the little symbols. On your Zoom control bar on the left, you will see an icon that looks like a movie camera, video camera.
Oh, yeah.
And if your camera is currently on, it will say stop video. If your camera is turned off, it will say start video. So the way that you know if your camera is on and off, if you look at your computer screen or your device screen and you see your picture, you see your video, your camera's on. So for those of you who don't see your face yet, if you tap or click on your start video, that turns your camera on. For those of you who are going to be on tablets, you will tap the top of your screen, and that's where your Zoom control bar lives. And you will also see that stop or start video. If you're on a smartphone today, you will see your Zoom control bar at the bottom of your screen. So if you tap at the bottom of your screen, you will see your Zoom control bar, and you'll also see that stop and start video. So let me know if you have any questions, if people have not been able to turn their cameras on and off. And that's the other thing. Once you turn your camera on, practice also turning it off by clicking or tapping on the stop video icon. So see what that's like to turn your camera, your video screen on and off. Okay. And let me know if you've had any trouble. I think most of us have gotten pretty comfortable with that. And it's always good to know how to turn your camera on and off, because you may have joined a Zoom meeting and the host may have set the meeting up so that everybody joins in with their cameras off. And so you're thinking, well, I need to turn my camera on so that people can see me. This is how you're going to do it. You're going to click or tap on that start video. So it looks like we've been successful. Some folks, their cameras may not be working. I understand. It's, again, I leave it up to you. How do we start muting and unmuting ourselves? So the way that you're going to turn your audio on and off is you'll go down. If you're on a laptop today, you're going to go down to the bottom of your screen. And again, you may need to wiggle your mouse around a little bit. On your Zoom control bar, you will see the mute or unmute button. It looks like a microphone all the way in the left-hand side of your Zoom control bar. Again, if you're on a tablet, you'll need to tap on the top of your screen to get your Zoom control bar. And for any iPhone users today, you can tap on the bottom of your screen to get that Zoom control bar. So you always can tell if your microphone or your audio is muted, because if you look at your little video square, your video display screen, if you're muted on the bottom left-hand corner of that video display, you will see a red microphone symbol with a big slash going through it. And that tells you that your microphone, your audio is currently muted. So to unmute yourself, all you need to do is click or tap on the unmute button on your Zoom control. So to mute yourself, you'll tap on the mute button or click on the mute button. To unmute, you'll click on unmute. So give that a shot and see what it's like to mute and unmute yourself. And let me know if you have any problems finding your mute or unmute button. Just give a holler. So I think we're pretty good here. And again, just let me know. So that's how we control our cameras, our video, as well as our audio. So the next thing that I want to cover are some Zoom etiquette tips. So I have two important ones for today. The first one has to do with our microphone. Now, when we're joining a Zoom call, and I'm not talking about if you're on a Zoom call with friends and family, who cares about that? When you're joining a Zoom call that, as like today, it's a little bit more formal, it's a class situation, it's always a good practice to mute your microphone once you've joined the meeting. And that's just out of consideration for your other participants, your fellow Zoomers. You know, we all have background noise going on. People are coming into the room to ask questions, the doorbell's ringing, whatever's going on. So I always ask folks when you join, mute your microphone so we don't have any background noise. And then if you have a question or you have a comment, please feel free to unmute yourself and then ask away. So if everyone can just mute their microphone, and again, let me know if you have any questions doing that. So that Zoom etiquette tip number 1. Zoom etiquette tip number 2 has to do with our cameras. So there may be times when you just need to get up and walk away for a moment or two, whether it's to answer the door, let the dogs out. If that's the case, it's a good practice to stop your video and then walk away, do whatever it is you need to do, come back, and when you're ready to join the Zoom meeting again, just click on or tap on start video to restart your, start your camera again. So again, that's stopping your video when you need to walk away and then restarting it when you're ready to join the meeting again. So those are my 2 Zoom etiquette tips for the day. Let me know if you have any questions at all. And the next thing we're going to talk about is how do we use the chat? So you may join a Zoom meeting and maybe there are a lot of participants. I don't know, maybe 40, 50 people on a Zoom meeting. And the host may have disabled your ability to unmute your audio. It's up to the host of how they want to do that. And if so, the host may say, folks, if you have a question or if you have a comment, please leave it in the chat. And so we need to figure out, well, how do we open the chat? And then once we open that chat window, how do we, send messages? So this is what we're going to learn next. So if you're on a laptop or PC today, what you'll do is you'll go down to the bottom of your screen and you'll find that Zoom control bar. In the middle of your Zoom control bar, you will see there is an icon, a symbol that says chat. And when you click on chat, it will open up a new window all the way to the right of your screen. For those of you who are on a tablet today, maybe an iPad or something like that, you're going to tap on the top of your screen, and on your Zoom control bar, you will see a button all the way to the right. It has 3 dots and with the word more. If you tap on that more button, this is where you will see another menu, and that's where chat is. And you can just tap on chat. In a similar way, if you happen to be on a smartphone, you'll just go down to the bottom of your screen and tap on that more button on your Zoom control bar. And that's where you'll find the option to tap on chat. So let me know if you weren't able to open up your chat window. It looks like we've been able to do this. All right. So we've opened up our chat window. Now what do we do? What I'd like everybody to do is go down to the very bottom of your chat window, and you'll see it will say type message here. The same thing if you happen to be on a tablet or a smartphone, the bottom of that chat window, it will see, see tap window to chat. So what you'll do is in that type message here, let's all type out a greeting and let me know where you're calling in from today. And if you're on a laptop, a desktop, a PC today, once you've typed your message, to send it to the chat, you'll simply press that enter key on your keyboard, and that sends it to the chat window. if you're on a tablet, an iPad or a smartphone, when you've typed out your message, you're then going to tap on that blue send button. It looks like a blue background with a paper airplane, and that will send the message. So this is my favorite part of class. I get to see where everyone is calling in from. Let's see. Oh, we got Houston, Florida, Jacksonville, Boston, woo, Ohio, more Florida from Palm Coast, woo, Sun City, Arizona, Battle Creek. I love it. More Florida. Wow, we have people from all over today. This is great. I love it.
Vicky, where is the send button on the laptop?
Oh, you don't have it on the laptop. So Josephina, if you're on a laptop, you're just going to press your enter key. And it's on
the enter key. Okay.
The enter key. Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Hello, Josephina. Yeah, great. So that is how you can send messages, whether you want to type in a question or you have a comment to make. You'll just open up your chat window, go down to the very bottom where it says type message here or tap to enter and type out your message. And of course, those folks on a laptop, you're just going to press enter to send. So what we've just done is we have sent a message, which is a public message, which means everyone in today's class can see your message. But you also have another choice. You can send what's called a private chat. And when you do that, you're sending a message to one other participant in the class. And only that participant can see your message. No one else can, which is why it's called private. So if you would like to send a private chat, what you will do is go down to the bottom of your chat window and you'll see it. There's a button that says everyone. It'll say to, and then right next to it, everyone. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, it will just say send to and then everyone. And what you're going to do is you will click on that everyone or tap on that everyone button, and it will bring up a list of the participants in today's class. And so we have 15 folks here. Now, you're not going to see your name in the list because you don't send messages to yourself in the chat. I know there are people who get very nervous. They're like, I don't see my name. Where's my name? It's like, don't worry. You're sending messages to other folks, not to yourself. So what you could do here is you could find someone's name in the list, select their name, whether it's me or someone else, and then where it says type message here, you could type a message, and then you would press that enter key on your keyboard if you're on a laptop or a desktop today. Or remember, if you're happen to be on an iPad, a tablet, or a smartphone, you would tap on the send button. And what you're doing is you're sending a message just to that one person. No one else can see it. So you just have to make sure if you're hopping back and forth between sending private messages and sending messages to everyone, just be careful, what the button says. Are you sending it to everyone or are you sending it just to one person? And I always have folks get confused because when you send a private chat, what you'll notice is that it changes the everyone button to the participant's name that you just sent a private chat to. So if you want to go back and send a message so everyone sees it, make sure that on that button that now has the participant's name, you click on it, scroll all the way up to the top of the list of participants and select everyone. Because that way, when you send the message, it will go to everyone. I have a question here. So I never got your notes on the last class. Oh, okay. Will do. Nancy, don't worry. We'll get you hooked up. All right. So any questions about the chat window? Does everybody feel comfortable knowing how to open it? You're by clicking on that chat icon or tapping on the more button and getting to your chat screen. The next thing I wanted to show everyone is how do you close the chat window? So if you're on a laptop or a PC, you can actually keep the chat window open if you wanted to, because it's all the way to the right and it doesn't cover up anything on the screen. If you're on a smartphone or if you're on a tablet, unfortunately, the chat window just pops up right in the middle and you really can't do much of anything else. So it's up to you. If you just prefer not to see the chat window, the way that you're going to close it, if you're on a laptop today or desktop, you'll go back down to the bottom of your Zoom control bar, and you can simply click on the chat icon to close the chat window. If you're on a tablet today or on a smartphone, you're just going to tap on the close in the upper left-hand corner of your chat window to close that. So this is how you're going to open and close your chat. If you click on that chat icon, it will open your chat window. Clicking on it again closes it. The other thing that I wanted to draw your attention to today is once you've closed your chat window, people may still be sending in messages to the chat. So the host may send a message, a participant may, with interesting information or questions. And the way that you're going to know if new messages have come into the chat is if you're on a laptop or a desktop today, if you look on your Zoom control bar, your chat icon will have a red dot on it with a number. And that tells you that there are new messages that have come in. If you're on a tablet or a smartphone today, you will look at that more button and it will have a red dot with a number in it. And so from time to time, it's always good just to check on your Zoom control bar. Any messages come in, and then you can click on that chat icon, open up that chat window and just see what any new messages have come in. So just another tip for today, just a nice idea to keep looking at your Zoom control bar from time to time. You don't have to obsess about it. And so that is the chat window. That's how we use chat, and get comfortable with it, because as you take more classes, whether it's on Get Set Up or anywhere else, you're going to see that people use the chat window a lot, especially if you're in a Zoom meeting where there's lots of participants. So stop me if you have any questions. I'm going to keep moving us on. The next thing that I wanted to cover was using the participant screen. There are a few different things that we can do there. So for laptop users, desktop users, you'll go down to the bottom of your screen, and on your Zoom control bar, you will see an icon. It looks like there are some people on it, and it'll say participants with the number 16. If you click on the participants icon, it will bring up the participant screen all the way to the right in the same place where your chat window was. For folks who are on a tablet today or a smartphone, on your Zoom control bar, you will see the participants icon as well. You simply need to tap on that to bring up your list of participants. Now, on this participants list, you will see your name listed here because there are certain things that you can do here. And let's just talk about what types of things that you can do when you bring up the participant screen. So the first thing I wanted to show you is how do you rename your video display? And that's your little video square there. Sometimes you may need to join a Zoom class or, excuse me, a Zoom meeting using somebody else's device, and it's going to come up with their name. And you're like, well, that's not me. I need to change my name. Or sometimes you may just join a meeting with a phone number, or it'll just say iPad. So how do we change our video display name? The way that you'll do this is you'll go to your participants list, and you're going to find your name in the list. And if you're on a laptop today, laptop or PC, desktop, when you take your mouse and you sort of hover over your name, there are two blue buttons that show up. One says mute and one says more. And if you click on the more button or tap on that more button, you will see an option that says rename. And if you click on rename, it brings up a small text editor. If you're on a tablet today or a smartphone, all you folks need to do is tap on your name in the participants list. You will see the rename option there. Just tap on rename and you're going to see a similar type of a screen. And what it's doing here, it's allowing you to enter a new screen name. So you can use your backspace key, whatever you would like, to type out a new display name if you want. You don't have to today, but you may join a meeting and the host will say, iPad, can you please, rename yourself so I know who I'm talking to. And this is where you can do it. You can bring up the participant screen and then go to your name, select, the more button, or select the more button, and then rename yourself. So once you type out a different name, you can click OK or tap done. And then you will see that you've renamed your video display. I love it, Mrs. Claus. I have one student in class who renames herself Cinderella, and I think that's great. It's like, why not? Why shouldn't you be Cinderella? So that's how you rename yourself. But I do want to let you know, renaming yourself in this way during a Zoom meeting, it's only temporary. So that renaming is only good for the duration of this meeting. Once you end the meeting and you rejoin or you join the next Zoom meeting, the next class, you're going to have to rename yourself again. So there are two different ways to work around this though. And I'm just curious, some of you may have seen this, some of you may not have. When you opened up, you selected the rename option. If you had a checkbox underneath the new screen name field, you may have seen, remember this name or remember my screen name for future meetings. If you do have that checkbox, you can select it and it will permanently change, or it will remember that new name that you've entered, screen name, moving forward. You don't have to keep renaming, go into this rename. Some of you may see that option, some of you may not. It just depends on the version of Zoom and a few other things. So I just wanted to let you know, if you happen to see that option, use it if you wish. Otherwise, in order to permanently rename your video display, what you'll need to do is go into your Zoom account. That means you'll need to sign up for an account if you don't have one, to change your display name permanently. Now, just know that you don't need to have a Zoom account to join a Zoom meeting or to join classes. But if you are, if you want to rename yourself permanently, you will have to get a Zoom account to do that. So just putting it out there. So that's how, yeah, Nancy, did you have a question? You'll have to unmute yourself, Nancy.
Yeah. It also says here, what is this here? Edit profile picture, where it says rename.
Sure, you can edit, you can actually, sure. So let me just show you, when I stop my video, you'll notice that there's a picture of me instead of just my name. That's my profile picture. And you can add a profile picture so that, yeah, like that. Yeah, that's your profile picture. So you can change it on the fly if you'd like.
Oh,
There you go. Something new. The other thing that you can do on the participant screen is you can invite others to join your meeting once it has started. So for example, maybe you're, in a family Zoom call and someone says, well, where's cousin Ed? I thought somebody had invited Ed. Did we forget to invite him? Well, if that's the case, you can, even as a participant, you don't have to be the host of a meeting. You can invite others to join your Zoom meeting. And the way that you can do this is if you go down to the bottom left of your participant screen, you'll see an invite button. And I'm just going to share my screen for a moment because I want to show you how this works. So let me share my screen just briefly, because sometimes when I share the screen, it eclipses some of your buttons. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm on a laptop. So I'm going down to the bottom left-hand corner of my participant screen. I'm going to click on the invite button. And on the laptop, this brings up another screen. So basically, the easiest thing to do is just totally ignore this screen. What I do is I click on this email button right here. I'm clicking on email. And what it's doing is it's allowing me to select from one of 3 different email systems. If you're on a MacBook today, or if you're on a tablet or a smartphone, basically, you're going to see the Apple Calendar option as well, iCalendar. So if you're using Gmail, you would select this. If you're on Yahoo Mail, if you're on neither of them, you'll just click on default email, and Zoom is smart enough to know what your email system is. I use Gmail, so I'm simply going to click on the Gmail button right here. And you wait just a moment, and what it does is it's loading up Gmail, and then it's going to actually compose a new email. It's going to put all the information in that someone would need in order to join your meeting. And here's the link right over here. And all you need to do is in this to field, I'm just going to type out an email address of someone, and you could type out multiple email addresses here. When you're done typing out people's email addresses, all you need to do is come down to the bottom here, and I'm clicking on this blue send button. And what Zoom is doing is it's sending an email message to that person. It's then, I'm going to stop my share so you can try it. It's that person will receive an email, and then they open up the email and they'll click on the link to join your Zoom meeting. And it's as easy as that. If you're on an iPad today, or a tablet or a smartphone, when you tap on that invite button, you just see a different menu. I would probably either use send email or send message. If you select send message, it does the same thing, only it allows you to send the invitation via a text message. And so that's what the invite button will do for you. And for those folks who are just starting off with this Zoom, if that's a little too involved for you, let it go. And I always encourage folks, take this class as many times as you want. You know, it's free. Just keep signing up until you get really comfortable with using the different controls and the different options, because, you know, your first time around, you'll probably pick up a couple of things and you're like, oh, all those other things, it was just like way over my head. Come back and take the class again and again until you feel really comfortable navigating using the Zoom controls. And so I just wanted to show folks how you can use this invite button. It's available to you. And when you get comfortable, you know, it's there. So let me know if you have any questions about this inviting others. Otherwise, let's go ahead and close the participant screen. And to do that, if you're on a laptop or a desktop today, you'll go down to your Zoom control bar and click on participants icon. That closes up your participant screen. For tablet users, you can just tap off anywhere on your control screen, off your participant screen. And if you're on a smartphone, you should have that close button in the upper left-hand corner. And so that is the participant screen. That's where you can rename yourself. That's where you can invite others. And the next thing I wanted to show you is using what we call reactions. So you may have joined a Zoom meeting, and let's just say there's lots of participants on the Zoom meeting. Maybe you have like 40, 50 people, 60. The host may have, again, disabled your ability to unmute yourself just because it's maybe easier for them to control the meeting. And they may say, folks, if you have a question, please raise your hand. And they may say virtually raise your hand. They don't mean doing this. Because if you have 60 people on a Zoom call and people are doing this, believe me, as a host, it's really difficult for them to track down who has a question. What they mean is, please do a virtual raise hand. And so Marcy, do you have a question? Or you
No.
No, you were just raising your hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. What I'm going to show people is how do we do our virtual raise hand. So for folks who are on a laptop today or a desktop, you'll go down to your Zoom control bar and you will click on the reactions button on your Zoom control bar. When you click on that reactions button, you will see two different rows. You'll see a raise hand button on the bottom there, and above it, there were a number of different other icons. We're going to talk about each of those separately. So when you click on your raise hand, that's how you'll do your virtual raise hand. If you're on a tablet today or a smartphone, what you'll be doing is you'll tap on that more button with the three dots, and on the menu that drops down, you will tap on your raise hand. And let me know if you don't see a raise hand in your reactions button. If you don't, it's probably in your participant screen. You don't, okay, so for those of you who don't see a raised hand, Zoom has moved things around recently. And all that means is you're on a slightly older version of Zoom. It's not a problem. So what you can do is if you don't see your raised hand in that reactions menu, if you go to your participant screen, if you click on the participants icon on your Zoom control bar, once you open up your participant screen on the lower right, that's where you'll see your raise hand. It's just Zoom moved things around like about a month or so ago. So this is how you raise your hand virtually. And you may not see your little hand icon on your video display, but the host can. And so when you do that virtual raise hand, the host will say, oh, I see, Wilhelmina, you have your your hand raised. Let me unmute you and please ask your question or make your comment. And so you'll ask your question, make your comment, and then what you want to do is you want to lower your hand, because once you raise your hand, that icon stays on your video display screen for the remainder of the meeting. And so if the host sees your hand raised, they're going to keep coming back to you and saying, oh, Josephina, I see you still have your hand raised. Do you have another question? You'd be like, no, it's just, you just forgot to lower your hand. And so what you'll do is in your reactions, if you click on that reactions button, that's where you'll see your lower hand button. You can click on that to lower your hand. You may need to go to your participant screen. If that's where you go to raise your hand, your lower hand button will be on the lower right corner of that screen. If you're on a tablet or a smartphone today, you'll tap on your more button with the 3 dots. That's where your lower hand button is. And so that's how we raise hand, lower hand. That's the virtual hand raise. Now in my class, I mean, if you sit there and you're like, Vicki, of course I'm going to call on you, but just know that if you happen to be, you're taking a Get Set Up class, maybe it's a speaker and there's 60 people. You want to get comfortable using that virtual raise hand, because it makes it a lot easier for the host to see folks who have a question. So let's take a look at how we use those fun reactions buttons. And again, for those of you on a laptop, desktop, if you click on your reactions button, this is where you see not only your raised hand, but you also see a number of other icons. And for those folks on tablets or smartphones, tapping on your more button at the bottom of that menu, that's where you will see all of these icons. We call these emojis, and you'll see there's a clap hands, there's a thumbs up, there's a heart, it looks like fireworks or something. There's somebody that's laughing and they're crying, and somebody looks like they're very surprised. You may, for those folks who are only seeing 2 icons, that means you're on a slightly older version of Zoom. And when you upgrade your version, you'll see all 6 of these. So when you select one of these emojis, you'll see it appear on your video screen. But then after about 5 seconds or so, it disappears. So these work a little bit differently than the virtual raise hand. The virtual raise hand stays up there until you lower it. These emojis, these reactions, they just stay on your screen for about 5 seconds and then they're gone. So when would you use these? Let's say you're in a Zoom meeting and the host or participant is saying something and you're like, wow, that's really great. I really like that. You can use one of these reactions, this nonverbal feedback, to just let them know, yeah, good for you, or I really like what you're saying, or a heart to say, oh, my heart goes out to you. So it's these nonverbal feedback. It's another way of interacting, communicating with folks on a Zoom meeting. So if you didn't want to unmute yourself and maybe interrupt what they were saying, you could just give them, a quick, thumbs up or clapping hands. And I know for some of us, we may be looking at these reactions, at these emojis, and I have people say, what is this with the clapping hands and the thumbs up and the heart? Like, what is this stuff? Well, you need to think about who's been using Zoom in the past. Now, we're on Zoom now, but it's, younger generations have been on Zoom meetings. And the way that younger generations communicate, they use these emojis. So that's why it's here. It's optional. You may find a host in a meeting says, hey folks, if you really understood what I just said, give me a thumbs up. It's a way of just communicating with the host and with others. So those are reactions. They're, a lot of fun to use. And I just like to bring it up so that it's available when you're in a Zoom meeting. So just a lot of fun to use. The next thing that I wanted to show you is how do you change your view, your Zoom view. So when you're in a Zoom meeting, you can work in one of two different views. There's the gallery view, which shows you all the different participants on one screen. And I also call that the Hollywood Squares view, because that's what it reminds me of as a kid watching Hollywood Squares. It's just everybody is on top of one another. So that's the gallery view. And then there's also the speaker view. And when you move into speaker view, which I'm going to show you how, it shows the speaker or the host in one large and a much larger video square, and then participants on the side. And Wilhelmina, did you have a question? You have your hand up. You can feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question.
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
You don't know what I'm doing. So do you know?
No, I said I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I had my hand up.
You have your hand up. Is there a question that I
okay.
can answer for you?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
Thank
just like,
you.
it's you. Okay. Great. Well, let me know if you get stuck with anything or need me to go over anything. So, and again, Wilhelmina, you can take this class as many times as you wish, so you start to get really comfortable, because sometimes it takes a few times for things to set in, right? So let's take a look at how we change our views. So if you're on a laptop today or a desktop, what you'll be doing is you're going to go to the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom window, and you'll see a view button. It has a grid right next to it. It looks like a grid. So if you click on that view button, it will bring up a list, another menu. You'll see speaker view, gallery view, and full screen. So if you're in gallery view right now, there'll be a check mark next to it. And if you wanted to switch into speaker view, you would just click on speaker view. If you're currently in speaker view, you can just click on gallery view. So for folks on a laptop, see what it's like to click on the different views and move back and forth. If you're on a tablet today, what you'll do is on the left-hand side of your screen, you will see an icon. It will either say, if you tap on it, it will say switch to active speaker view, or the icon will say switch to gallery view. And you'll simply tap on that icon to move back and forth between the two views. Anyone who is on a phone today, you will only see 4 participants on a screen when you're in gallery view. And for those folks who are on a phone, a smartphone, you'll need to take your finger and actually swipe left to start seeing multiple participants on a screen. And you'll have to keep swiping left to see more additional participants. And great question here. Are there any further classes on how to host a Zoom meeting? Yes, we do. And I'll show you some of the additional Zoom classes that you can take at the end of class. I'll be happy to, because we do. We have another class on how do you host and schedule Zoom meetings. And so that is, hopefully everyone's been able to just switch back and forth between the two different views. Let me know if you've been having any trouble with that. Now, when you're in gallery view, you can see everyone on a screen. We have 15 people. So today, if you're on a laptop or a desktop, you can see up to 49 participants on a screen. If you're on a tablet, I believe it's 16 now. And as I mentioned, if you're on a smartphone, you'll be able to see 4 participants on a screen. If you've joined a meeting and there are a lot of participants, 40, 50 participants, when you're in gallery view, everyone's little video screen becomes a lot smaller. And if the host is displaying something, showing you something on their screen, it's going to be really difficult to see what they're showing you. So that's when you want to switch into speaker view so that you can see much better what they're showing you. So when you're in speaker view, you'll notice that the speaker or the host's screen, their video screen becomes much larger. And so switching into speaker view makes it easier to see what they're showing on their screen. Anybody have any questions about switching back and forth between the 2 views? We're good? Okay. Now, for those of you who had questions about, well, what other Zoom classes are out there, if you feel comfortable and you want to move forward, I'm just going to share my screen for a moment so I can go up to, I have my Get set up. I'm on the website. And one of the easiest ways to find additional classes is I come up here where it says search classes and groups. I just click right in there. If I type out Zoom, what it does is the site will now display a list of all the different classes that we offer for Zoom. And here's that how to schedule and host a Zoom meeting. We also have, let's see, creating Zoom virtual backgrounds. If you want to learn how to use the whiteboard, annotations, this is a fun one. We also have, what else did I want? There's advanced Zoom. We talk about breakout rooms. So there's a lot of other classes that we are offering on Zoom, and we're adding more each day. So this is where you can go to find additional Zoom classes. And does anybody have any other questions so far? Okay. All right. I just wanted to, I have a couple of other, we talked about reactions. Let's talk about updating your Zoom version. So let's go over here. If you're on a PC today and you've downloaded the actual Zoom app on your PC, what you'll need to do is open up the app on your laptop or your desktop. You'll click on your profile picture, just like you see here. And then on this menu that drops down, you'll want to click on check for updates. And if there are any new Zoom updates, it will load it onto your PC. If you happen to be on a mobile device, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone, what you'll need to do is on your device, you'll either go to your App Store, your Apple App Store, or your Google Play Store. If you're on an Android, you'll tap on your profile icon and then scroll down to available updates. And you'll have to scroll down to the bottom because Zoom starts with a Z. And then you'll click on updates. And then you want to update your Zoom app right there. So just an FYI, it's a good thing to do from time to time because Zoom does put out updates on their application. So good to know. And I showed you, for those of you who are interested in hosting a meeting, to join a meeting, you don't need to have a Zoom account, but if you want to start hosting meetings, you will need to start get a Zoom account. They're free. You can also have a paid account. And if you take the hosting and scheduling a Zoom meeting class, we take you through how to do that. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then I'm just going to, close today's class. We're at the hour. I can't believe it, but just remember that we have a, I'll talk to Phil in a minute. Use that chat box to send messages, ask questions. You can have a public chat, private chat. Again, those two practices, those two tips that I gave, remember to mute your microphone when you join a meeting, to be considerate of your other Zoom participants. You can work with reactions. Remember that virtual hand raise that we talked about. And now hopefully you're comfortable moving back and forth between the gallery view to see all the participants in the meeting, or you can switch to speaker view. And remember, when you get comfortable enough, you can always invite other participants to join your Zoom meeting. So I'm going to stop my share. Let me know if anyone has any other questions. Nancy, you had a question.
Yes, when you said to get the new version, you said to go back, there's no picture when you go back to your Zoom page.
When you're on your
PC.
Okay, do you have Nancy, do you have the app? Did you load the Zoom app on your laptop?
No, it's a PC.
On your PC, I meant. Did you load the Zoom app? Okay. Well, you know what? I can work with you after class and just walk you through that.
Okay.
Because typically that's what it will look like. You'll just tap on that icon, your profile icon. And what I just want to thank everyone for joining me today. And I always encourage folks, with that feedback, give us the feedback. Let us know what other classes you would like us to be putting out there for you. If there are other classes that you would like to see scheduled more frequently, let us know. That's how we make things better. And if anybody has any questions about how do you register for other classes, I'll be happy to walk you through that. After class ends, you can just stay on. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, everyone. And it's great to see you. And take care. Have a great Monday.
It's a very good class.
Thank you, Josephina. And remember, take it as many times as you wish. We're here for you.
I'm taking it on Wednesday.
Wonderful. Good, good, good. And I know Nancy, I'm going to.
I wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
After class, after you finish.
Sure
you know.
thing.